Oh God, what do I do? What am I saying? I am God. I am the God. So how does the almighty Zeus pass his time up here in Mount Olympus, which is not even the tallest mountain in the world? I've had sex with pretty much everyone. Let's see. Oh, wait. But there's a beautiful girl down there. But how do I approach her? I've done the golden rain, which went really well. I've done the eagle. I've done the swan. To be honest, I've done too many birds, maybe. Why don't I try something new? Let's see. I got it. I'm gonna do the bull. Every girl loves a bull, right? Or maybe not. We'll see. Welcome to Not Another Greek History Podcast, the podcast that aims to be exactly what it says. I'm your host, Onoufilos Dovlepis, and together we'll discover the not-so-frequently told stories of Greece's history that will change the way you view things forever. Welcome everyone to this episode where we talk about the incredible myth of Europa. In Greek mythology, Zeus disguises himself, obviously as you understood, into a bull to seduce a girl named Europa. It's a wonderful myth that has been spun into everything, from political commentary to feminist critiques. But who was Europa? Europa was a princess, the daughter of either Phoenix or of Agenor, king of Tyre in Phoenicia, that means modern-day Lebanon. Her mother, Telephassa, which means far shining, she was the daughter of the Nile River. And don't tell me that your grandfather is not a river too, at least. Telephassa has the word tile in it, which means distance in Greek. So Telephassa, far shining, as also we say telephone, telescope, and so on. One of her ancestors was the Greek princess Io from Argos in southern Greece. Io was another lover of Zeus. The name Europa now. Evropi probably came from Evri. Evri means wide, broad, and ops, which means eye, face. Another word that includes ops is cyclops. Cycle, circle, and ops, circular eye. But it could also be a pre-Greek name that was eventually given some Greek etymology. The goddess of agriculture, Demeter, Dimitra, was also called Evropi, Europa. Back to Zeus, the king of the gods, the ultimate womanizer. When he sees the girl, he falls in love with her right away. To win her love, he takes the form of a magnificent white bull and tricks her into climbing on his back. Of course. He then carries her across the sea to the island of Crete, where he reveals his true identity, and she becomes the first queen of the island. Crete back then, whenever that when is supposed to be, was the most advanced civilization on the continent. We're talking about almost 4,000 years ago, when that really was the case. So her name was given to the entire continent of Europe. That's how the continent got its name. Also, a moon of the planet Jupiter is named after her. That's because Jupiter is Zeus. Of course, we in Greece don't use the Latin name for the Greek god or for any of the planets. And also the Greek 2 euro coin, which circulates everywhere in the Eurozone, in Italy, in Spain, in Germany, in France, and so on. It depicts Europa riding the bull. Make sure that you look for that when you come to Europe in general, not just Greece. But it could have actually gone really, really worse for her, because Io, her ancestor that I mentioned earlier, was turned into a cow. But that's a whole different story. Europa's story probably symbolizes cultural exchanges between the East, Phoenicia, and the West, Greece and Crete. Or it could echo the kidnapping of some princess by the people of Crete. That is kind of a thing in the ancient myths, by the way. The Trojan War started for a similar reason, because the prince of Troy kidnapped Helen of Sparta. So Zeus gifted Europa several things, including a bronze giant named Talon to protect her. We're talking about a freaking robot here. Okay, maybe not. Talon was even depicted on coins from Crete in antiquity, and I love one of those. They look so beautiful. But no, we're not supposed to buy antiquities, are we? Nah, only for a museum, which I'm not. So Europa also had three sons with Zeus. The most famous of them was Minos, who became the legendary king of Crete, hence the Minoan civilization. He's mentioned already in Homer's Iliad in the 8th century BC. According to mythology, Minos was such a just ruler that even after he died, the gods allowed him to continue judging the dead in the underworld. But not the living, only the dead. It's okay, I can live with that. I'd love me that kind of privilege, let's say. Eventually, Europa married a mortal king, King Asterion from Crete, who adopted her children as his own. Because Zeus wasn't exactly what you call a family guy, so she got herself a husband. And let's be honest, you either marry a king or just don't get married at all. Now let's dive into the darker side of King Minos. One of the most infamous parts of his story is, of course, the Minotaur, the half-bull, half-human monster that lived in the labyrinth. Legend has it that to secure his throne, Minos prayed to Poseidon, the god of the sea, for a sign of divine favor. Poseidon, who obviously wasn't doing anything at the moment, he said, why don't I just send you a magnificent white bull coming out of the sea, not from the land, which you're going to have to sacrifice. However, Minos was so captivated by the bull's beauty that he kept it and sacrificed a lesser animal instead. Wah, 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 wah. No, you don't do that. Come on. You know that this will anger Poseidon. Did it? Let's see. What do you know? Poseidon cursed his wife, the wife of King Minos, Pasiphae, who was the daughter of the sun god Helios. I mean, come on. One has a grandpa who's a river. The other one's father is the sun. I mean, what are we doing here? The curse was for her to fall in love with the bull. Ta-da! Well, you either come up with an original curse or you don't. Good job, Poseidon. Overcome by her unnatural desire, Pasiphae asked the help of Daedalus, a brilliant inventor and craftsman. Daedalus, as you say in English, constructed a hollow wooden cow covered in cowhide. Pasiphae climbed inside the fake cow, and yes, it is going where you thought it was going, and she lured the bull and fulfilled Poseidon's curse. From this union, Pasiphae gave birth to the Minotaur, a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull. The invention of Daedalus of the wooden cow illustrates human ingenuity, but also its use in morally ambiguous circumstances. Yeah, right, okay. And what does getting the head of a bull out of your vagina illustrate? The Minotaur, who was a monstrous and violent being, was a source of shame for Minos, you think, and a reminder of his defiance of the gods, which brought disaster upon his family and kingdom. That's why you don't defy the gods. If Zeus or Poseidon sends a bull, sacrifice the freaking bull. So eventually, Minos has Daedalus build the labyrinth to imprison the Minotaur. Poor baby, come on. It wasn't his fault. This whole thing, by the way, was dictated by the Oracle of Delphi. They told him to make the labyrinth. This freaking Oracle of Delphi, we always come across this in every story. They messed everyone's lives, which was not what they were supposed to do, but they always did it. The story of Pasiphae, the wife of Minos, is, as you can imagine, a tragic one. After giving birth to the Minotaur, she was shunned by society and eventually driven to madness. But it makes sense. Some versions of the myth say that she committed suicide. Okay, I can see that. Others say she was imprisoned, I don't know why, or exiled, which again, I don't see why. But no matter what, it didn't end well for her. In mainland Greece, by the way, she was worshipped as a goddess of divination. She does have divine origins anyway, being the daughter of the sun, as we said. That is reflected, pun intended, in her name, which actually means light for all. Pan or pasi means for everyone. This phi is a word for light. She's the bright daughter of the sun. But whatever happened to Poseidon's bull that started this mess? Well, the mighty demigod Heracles showed up in Crete, captured the bull as part of his 12 labors, and took him to Mycenae on mainland Greece. The bull was released and ended up near Athens in Marathon. He was eventually captured by the hero coming up. The Minotaur and Theseus. A son of Minos, Androgeos traveled to Athens to participate in the Panathenaic Games, Panathenaic meaning for all Athenians. That's where his skill and strength earned him great admiration, but at the same time he was resented by the Athenians, including King Aeneas himself, the king of Athens. In a version of the myth, King Aeneas fears that Androgeos might help rivals overthrow him, so he sends him on a dangerous mission to slay the Marathonian bull. Another bull. Enough with the freaking bulls. Come on. Androgeos was killed during this task. What do you know? But in another version, a boring one to be honest, the king or some conspirators just murdered Androgeos because they were so jealous of his success. To be honest, it might have just been this one. It seems so lowly, so human, it could have just been that one. Minos, the king of Crete, sails with his fleet to wage war against Athens. The gods intervened on his behalf. Minos prayed to Zeus, who sent a plague and famine upon Athens. Damn you, Athens, you brought this upon yourself. To appease Minos and stop the divine punishment, the Athenians agreed to his demands. Every 9 years, oh wait, but wasn't it annually? Stupid versions of myths, come on. It could have been also annually, but we cannot just have one version and get it over with. So every 9 years or annually, Athens would send 7 young men and 7 young women to Crete as a tribute. But it was 7, we're certain on that one. These youths were sent into the labyrinth. Okay, we got that right. Every version agrees with that one. Where they would be devoured by the Minotaur, the monstrous half-bull, half-man creature that was kept by Minos. This tragic series of events sets the stage for a young man to turn into a hero by confronting the scary Minotaur. And that is, of course, Theseus. Theseus, the son of Aeneas, or Poseidon, depending on the version. Would you just stop with this whole thing with the versions? He's either the one or the other. This is driving me crazy. So anyway, Theseus, the son of Aeneas, I'm going to go with that one, was determined to end this cruel tribute. When the time came for Athens to send the next group of youths to Crete, Theseus volunteered to be one of them. He declared his intent to kill the Minotaur and free Athens from its obligation. Before he departed, his father, Aeneas, asked him to change the black sails of the ship, which of course symbolize death, to white sails when he returned if he succeeded on his mission. Theseus promised, but this detail would lead to another tragedy later. Of course, there has to be another complex, tragic story. This is not complex enough. Duh. Upon arriving in Crete, Theseus catches the eye of Ariadne, the daughter of King Minos and Queen Pasiphae. Ariadne falls in love with the handsome Theseus and decides to help him. Obviously, because Theseus couldn't just be ugly and heroic. He was smoking hot and heroic. That's how it goes. It's only this combination. She gives Theseus a ball of thread, which we call sometimes Ariadne's thread. So he would unravel this and enter the labyrinth and find his way out. By the way, the Minotaur had an actual name, Asterion, same as the foster father of Minos, if you remember this detail. It means starry. Star comes from the Greek word astir, asterion, and so do the words astro, we say astronomy, astronaut, which we didn't come up with, but it's a Greek word. It means star, sailor. So the name Asterion means starry, as I told you, and he was the grandchild of the star Helios, the sun. So, guided by this thread, Theseus ventures deep into the labyrinth. He eventually finds the Minotaur, Asterion, and fights him in a brutal battle. He kills the beast with his bare hands or a sword. I think I'll just go with bare hands because it's more impressive. I don't know about you, but I think bare hands, really impressive. With the monster defeated, Theseus uses the thread to retrace his steps and escapes the labyrinth with the other Athenian youths. Yay! By the way, I have written an adaptation of the story as part of a collection of short stories. It's a book that, if translated, I think the title will be 20 Death Stories. It just came out in 2024. So did we say that Theseus, apart from the Athenian youths, he also gets the girl? Of course, Ariadne leaves Crete behind forever and elopes with a stranger who just happened to be a hottie. And they lived happily ever after. No, of course they didn't. After Theseus kills the Minotaur, he leaves Ariadne on the island of Naxos. It was demanded by the gods. How convenient. He just used the princess and then got rid of her. Some stories say that she eventually marries the god Dionysus. He takes her with him on his journeys across the world, teaching her and other people the art of winemaking and celebrating the joys of life. She was practically taught how to drink her sorrows away. And she also becomes immortal. Oh, okay, so not too bad for Ariadne after all. Hey, what about that Theseus dude? Oh, right. Well, in his excitement of grief, yeah, right, Theseus forgot to change the black sails to white. You saw that coming, didn't you? So convenient. I mean, you gotta give it to this guy. He's handed everything. What could possibly happen next? When his father, King Aeneas, saw the black sails approaching, he believed Theseus had been killed in Crete. Overcome with despair, the poor king, okay, not so poor maybe, threw himself into the sea, which thereafter became known as the Aegean Sea. That's where the name came from. You didn't see that one coming, did you? So, okay, he got something out of that. But the freaking king killed himself because that douchebag couldn't change the sails? Who comes up with this stuff? Later on, though, Theseus abducted the queen of the Amazons because he was totally a sex predator. The Amazons then attacked Athens to retrieve their queen. Makes sense. Leading to a battle known as the Amazonomachia. Amazonomachia. Machia is the word battle. In some versions, again, this thing with the versions. Anyway, in some versions, Hippolyta, the queen, died during this conflict. In others, Theseus eventually abandoned her. That's my boy Theseus, abandoning the girl. The consensus is that the Amazons got their asses kicked, and that's how they ended up being depicted on the Parthenon in Athens. The Parthenon showcased, of course, many battles in which the Athenians had won. Theseus and Hippolyta, by the way, had a son who had a very original name, Hippolytus. Right? Hippolyta, Hippolytus. Anyway, did you just wonder what his life was like? No? Well, I'll tell you anyway. He has his own tragic story involving the second wife of Theseus named Phaedra. Yes, the predator found another woman. You'll see why I'm telling you this now. Who was Phaedra? You're gonna love this. Phaedra was the daughter of King Minos and Queen Pasiphae, making her the sister of Ariadne. I mean, you gotta give it to them. Those people really, really, really wanted to make the most complex stories ever. So Hippolytus is the opposite of his father. He is not into sex and doesn't want to honor Aphrodite, the goddess of sexual pleasures. Aphrodite is definitely really bored on Mount Olympus. Zeus does his own thing, so she does her own, and she curses him to have some fun. As a result, Phaedra, his mother-in-law, falls in love with her stepson. When Hippolytus rejects her, she falsely accuses him of trying to seduce her. Come on. Theseus, enraged, curses his son. Of course, there has to be a curse, which leads to the death of Hippolytus. Later, Phaedra confesses the truth and takes her own life out of guilt. It's too late for that. Which one of you that didn't know the story even dreamed of this ending? These people are really still giving lessons of originality and intrigue. Okay, so what happened to King Minos after the Minotaur was killed? Oh, I totally forgot about the guy whose wife cheated on him with the bull. Well, he got an entire Bronze Age civilization named after him. Archaeologist Arthur Evans named a civilization which developed around 3000 BC and lasted almost until 1000 BC, 3000 years ago. That is the first civilization in Europe, even back then. And also in the 5th century BC, the most advanced civilizations of Europe were at the far south of the continent. And of course, everything began on an island, Crete. So when you visit Crete, which requires days, not hours, make sure that you go to the ancient site of Knossos. It's pronounced, the K is pronounced, we say Knossos, it's not Nossos, as in the word no, Kno, no. And the magnificent archaeological museum at Heraklion, you have to visit as well. Don't you dare meet me in Athens and tell me that you went to Crete for a few hours. Just don't go at all. So did the death of the Minotaur bring peace to Crete? Who's that guy who's always asking these things? I don't know. So Minos goes to another island, Sicily, where he challenges some king named Kokalos through a ritual combat. Defeated, and in a mortal combat, to be honest. I love this this name for the game, Mortal Kombat. Defeated, Minos has a violent end at the hands of the daughters of Kokalos, who scalded him to death in a ritual bath. Boom. He never saw that coming. The death of Minos marked the decline of Cretan power and influence. His story is a reminder that even the most powerful can fall victim to their own thirst for vengeance and pride. I mean, does anyone have a happy ending in all of this? Yeah, mysterious guy. Let's talk about the Daedalus guy that made the labyrinth. He must have had a happy ending. Daedalus had actually killed his nephew by throwing him from the Acropolis. Okay, this seems rather ominous. So he fled Athens and found refuge in Crete, where he served King Minos. But actually, this was made up by the Athenians. He was actually from Crete. Stupid Athenians. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop doing that voice. When Theseus from Athens arrived to kill the Minotaur, Ariadne helped him. But it was Daedalus who gave her the idea about how to escape the labyrinth. He was the one who made it after all. It only makes sense that he, and not Ariadne, would know the way. As punishment for helping Theseus, King Minos imprisoned Daedalus and his son Icarus in a high tower. To escape, Daedalus crafted wings for himself and Icarus using feathers, wax, and string. Don't try this at home. He warned Icarus, don't fly too high. The sun's heat would melt the wax. Don't fly too low, because the sea's moisture would weigh down the wings. So finally, the father and son managed to take flight and are flying happily over the Aegean Sea. Well, okay, it's not called that yet. So anyway, things are going so well, but wait, overcome by excitement and ignoring his father's warnings, Icarus starts flying too high. No, Icarus, don't do it. Calm down. But the sun's heat melted the wax on his wings, and Icarus plummeted into the sea, drowning. The sea where he fell is called the Icarian Sea, and a nearby island was named Icaria in his memory. I mean, seriously, these ancient Greeks just loved a great tragedy. But wait. Weren't they the ones that came up with the word tragedy? By the way, Daedalus did survive. He ended up in Sicily, and that's why King Minos Now you can see it all comes back to that. That's why he went there to kill him. But that led to his own death. I'm sure Daedalus wasn't happy anyway with his son's death, but at least he wasn't killed or anything. He died of old age. That is as close to a happy ending as they could tolerate. So I hope you've enjoyed this incredible journey that included having sex with bulls, having sex with cows, sacrificing cows, killing cows, being turned into a cow, and many, 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 many cows. I'm joking. It even included robots. It included flying with feathers. It involved many, many tragedies. And of course, that was the beginning of Europe itself. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share. Until next time, this is Ponoufiros Dovletis signing off from Not Another Greek History Podcast.